ladies and gentlemen, we are looking at reciprocal trig identities. So we've talked about with the unit circle, we've talked about cosine, sine, tangent. Now we're going to talk about these new three, so please make sure you write them down. We're talking about secant, cosecant, and cotangent. Okay? Cosecant, secant, cotangent. All right. Next, we're looking at the abbreviated version. Secant is abbreviated as SEC. Cosecant is CSC. And cotangent is COT. CSC for cosecant, COT. Better? Okay. Secant is the reciprocal identity of sine. Cosecant is the reciprocal identity for cosine. Cotangent is the reciprocal identity for tangent. Okay? Sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Secant is hypotenuse over opposite. Get how it flips? Adjacent, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse. Cosecant is hypotenuse over adjacent. Get how it flips? Reciprocal. Okay. Tangent is opposite over adjacent. Cotangent is adjacent over opposite. Okay. This also means that secant is 1 over sine, cosecant is 1 over cosine, and cotangent is 1 over tan. Last thing on this side of the page, tangent is the sine over the cosine. Cotangent would be the cosine over the sine. We're just flipping it. CSC. CSC. Make sure you finish copying this down. I'm about to turn it over.
Hold on.
I'm holding.
10 seconds. All right, proceed.
No way. Remember, it is recording. Okay. All right, let's turn it over, guys. We're going to practice these. I might, before I get started, put cosecant is 1 over x on my paper. Secant is 1 over y. And cotangent is x over y. This is a good thing to add to your unit circle. You always want to have your unit circle out while we're going over this section. Okay, now that we have those at the top of our paper, we're going to do some of these problems. We're going to start with the secant of 30. So secant, remember, is 1 over y, so I know I'm going to have a 1 over 30 degrees. The y value for 30 degrees is 1/2. Well, you can't have a number over a fraction, so we're going to flip it. 1 times 2 over 1, giving us 2. Yep, that's it. Cotangent, remember, is x over y, so I'm going to go to 45 degrees, and I'm going to put x, square root 2 over 2, over y, square root 2 over 2, and what does that equal, guys?
1.
Good, 1. 1 is my answer. Okay, number 3, cosecant of 330. Remember, cosecant means 1 over x, so I go to 330. I'm going to go 1 over the x value, square root 3 over 2. Okay, so that is 1 times 2 over square root 3. Can't have a square root 3 on the bottom, right? So we multiply the top and bottom by the square root 3. That gives me 2 square root 3 over 3. That was a lot of work. Not only did I have to flip it over, I also had to multiply by the square root of 3. I would add that to the bottom of my paper right here. 1 over square root 3 over 2 equals 2 square root 3 over 3. I'm going to take this paper off because it's the same thing you have here, and here. You write those two things down that I just underlined, it'll make it a lot quicker on your paper. Secant of 90 degrees. Secant of 90 degrees, remember that's 1 over y. So we have 1, the y value is 1, so my answer is 1. Okay, let's look at number 5. We've got the cotangent of 210. So I go to 210, remember it is the x value, negative square root 3 over 2, over the y value, negative 1/2. That should be on your paper. A negative divided by a negative is a
Positive.
Okay, and this is going to give us square root 3 as my answer. You should already have what this answer is on your paper, so you have your shortcut. Secant of 135 is 1 over the y value, which is square root 2 over 2. Okay, so I'm going to go 1 times 2 over square root 2. Can't have a square root 2 on the bottom, so I got to multiply the bottom and the top by square root 2. So I end up with 2 square root 2 over 2, which ends up being square root 2. That, again, I would think would be a lot of work. You might want to add that to the bottom. Remember, just write this equals this down on your paper, and that's your shortcut. Okay, we're going to look at number 7. Number 7 is cosecant of 150. That's 1 over the x value. So 1 over negative square root 3 over 2, which I know equals negative 2 square root 3 over 3, because I already wrote that down on my paper. Cotangent of 240, I go to 240, I'm going to put the x, negative 1/2, over the y, negative square root 3 over 2. A negative divided by negative is a
Positive.
Good, so that gives me square root 3 over 3. Okay, number 9, 225, it's secant, so that's 1 over the y, negative square root 2 over 2. I know that's going to equal negative square root 2. It's just like number 6, except we've got a positive divided by a negative, so I end up with a negative answer. Number 10, cosecant of 270. Cosecant is x, so I go to 270. I have 1 over the x, which is negative 1, so my whole answer is negative 1. Okay. You have your homework paper that you need to be doing, and a lot of you did not finish up the worksheet from yesterday. We started it in class where you have a 60-degree triangle. Feel free to grab a protractor and a ruler to finish that up if you haven't. Okay, there is a mistake for 10. It should not be 1 over -1. It should be 1 over 0, which is undefined.
Wait, why?
I put the 1 over, I put the 1 over the y value, and it should have been over the x value. Okay, so it does equal 1 defined.
Oh, okay.
So be careful of that. That's a common mistake.